camera. Okay, you guys, just give me a second. We're going to get started. So I listed in the title, and today I kind of have a little outline of how I want to go through the live and definitely try to keep it shorter than yesterday. Damn, that sun. Here it comes. Probably going to have to move. I thought I had the perfect spot. Anyway, I've already started the live, or I would just clip it and start over because I'm having trouble with my neighbors. Isn't that about right? Isn't that about right? Hold on, y'all. I'm not giving up yet, though. I'm going to scoot over out of this sun. Just a pinch. I really don't know who people think they are. I'm going to tell y'all what happened in just a second, and then we're going to get started. Let me scoot over out of the sun. Hold on a second. Nah, they're not making me give up that easily. That's messed up. Nope. I've got everything from air condensers cutting on to sun trying to blind me, neighbors trying to come out and F with me. It's like, what the hell, right? Okay, that's not a great way to start off my live. So this is my second live. My first experimental live stream was yesterday. Thank you for all the people that dropped by to say hey and check it out. And really, again, I'm just experimenting with different times of day, different topics, just really doing these to get a feel for live streaming. Because if you're subscribed to my channel, you know that I do a lot of different topics, but most of them revolve around either something psychological, spiritual, something of that nature that we can all learn from. So get on in here, let's talk. I have some things to talk about today. And right now, so far, I'm outside, I'm in the backyard, I'm in a really nice, breezy spot because I'm in the South and it gets hot here really quickly. I mean, you really just about have to get up at the crack of dawn to do anything outside in the summertime because it is hot as hell. You know, by 10 or 11 a.m., it's already getting hot. And in the dead of summer, even earlier, by 8 or 9 a.m. So, anyway. Who? What? Diddy. Okay. Whatever. I don't know how the topic got on Diddy, but what's up? I was just reading about him last night. Oh my God, y'all, I'm lost when it comes to what the hell is going on with this Diddy case. Like, I watched a few interviews last night, but I'm not in the loop. I'm not in the know with this one, okay? I usually keep up with what's going on, but I know it's something bad. Like, so I need to get more informed on this case because I'm confused. I mean, I've seen so much, y'all. I've heard so much about what's going on with the Diddy case and how many people are involved that now I don't know who to believe in and who to trust anymore. And like, what the hell, right? Hello. Hey, Christopher, I'm doing fine. Thank you. But I just was reading this comment where this person just out of the blue popped up and started talking about Diddy. And I haven't mentioned anything about Diddy, but that's what I was talking about before we get started. It's very strange. I'm really confused. I'm lost about the whole case. I don't know who to believe in anymore. As far as, I'm a huge hip hop and R&B fan, and a lot of the people that they are naming involved in all this, I'm like, oh my God. Okay. I'll tell you who I do like, who's always been really real, and he stays away from that whole Hollywood scene shit, and that's Ice Cube. That's who I do like. And his whole energy, his whole attitude. um I watched an interview with him last night, talking about Diddy and how he thinks Diddy's being targeted. I don't know. I'm not even going to speak on it because I'm not qualified to. I'm not informed enough yet about the case, the situation. I have no clue. But I do like Ice Cube. And I like it. Last night, he's like, on an interview, he's like, He's like, I never went to a Diddy party, never really wanted to. He's like, I don't party. He's like, I ain't the partying type. Love Ice Cube, y'all. Always been a huge fan. Who is Diddy? Sean Combs. Sean P. Diddy Combs, Puff Daddy, he used to be referred to. He became very, very famous starting back in the 90s as a rapper and producer and music mogul in the industry. I think he's pretty close to Jay-Z and Beyonce. He jump-started Jennifer Lopez's career, all that stuff. Sean Puffy Combs. And there's some whole massive case against him right now. It's like all over the place. And I'm still really confused on who to believe because they've got people, in every which direction talking shit about it, like coming out with all kinds of new stuff every day. So we'll see, but I'm going to get into the topics that I listed on my title. We're going to get on into that. I'm going to try, let me light my little incense. As I was saying, I'm out here this morning, and these are my first few experimental live streams. Now I know I need to get out here before anybody else's ass is awake, because all they do is bother me. And that all, you know what, guys, that all that is that negative energy. That is that energy that I'm always talking about that wants to stop. If you have a passion, if you have a goal, if you have something you want to do that comes from your soul that you enjoy, that's outside of the everyday norm, go out your door, get in your car, go to work, come home, go to the grocery store, cut your grass. Hey, those things can be beautiful too, don't get me wrong. But if you have a goal or a passion or a dream, something you really want to work on that comes from soul, you will notice how often people distract you, how often people want to pull you from that, distract you from that, interrupt you, stop you from doing it. And they may not even be aware that they're consciously doing that. They're just going on obliviously about their daily lives. But spirit uses them for that. And I believe that with everything in me. There's always, where there is light, there is always a dark force. There are always dark energies and dark entity attachments and bullshit working through people. And I believe that where there is light, where there is truth and soul and beauty, and people have creative life force and high frequency, where they want to share that, speak on it, they want to create with it, there will always be a darker fucking energy coming at you. I mean, literally, you'll just start to see it so much that you almost, it tries to block you. It tries to box you in. You'll go outside and, like this morning, for instance, this shit happens to me all the time. Sloan Bella talks about this too. This morning, for instance, I should have been out here at 6 a.m. to start my live stream. Nice morning coffee. I've got a little incense I'm about to light. I just wanted to start doing something called the early morning early birdie stream. Just peaceful, cup of coffee, some incense, and let's talk, y'all. Talk about things I'm passionate about. Should have been out here at 6 a.m. and now I know why. I'm out here earlier than I was yesterday, though. But ever since I got out here in the backyard on the grass, yeah, I share this apartment with a few other people. I'm not bothering anyone. I'm under a shade tree, a nice little spot, trying to get away from the air conditioner condenser noise. Just setting up my little live stream, minding my business. And ever since I've been out here, people have been effing with me. Literally, one neighbor comes out and goes, "Hey, I just need to let you know, my dog is mean." I'm like, so? Okay, thanks for letting me know. Mine's mean too. You want me to go in and get him? I mean, what are you saying, dude? Like, why are you telling me that? You want me to get all my stuff and have to get up and move so that now that I've already gotten set up to do this live stream? I mean, we all share this backyard. It's like, he's like, well, no, I'm about to bring my dog out to pee, so he's not friendly. He's a pit. And I'm like, so let him pee. You want what? So what? Well, he might attack you. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Are you telling me you can't control your dog? Like people, y'all, right? And I'm telling you, it's not even them. It's that negative ass spirit. It's that energetic force that always wants to F with people that are trying to do something from soul, something from spirit, that have a message to bring, a message to give, just to interrupt the thing that you love, the thing that you're going to enjoy for the day, the thing that's going to make you feel peace inside. How many of you notice that as you're going about your day, or after you've gotten your heart set on doing something, or just minding your business in your own lane, in your own flow? How many of you notice that? Kevin, your dogs are nice. You're a good dog owner. Yeah, I have a dog. I have a Chihuahua. I love pits and Chihuahuas. Mine he's a deerhead Chihuahua. He's 8 years old and he's freaking fierce. He's not really good with strangers, but here's the point, y'all. Think about, you know what I'm saying? Isn't that weird? Like, I would never. This is an open backyard area. It's big enough for everyone. I would never walk up to someone with my freaking Chihuahua, who is fierce too and who will bite your ass. He will attack strangers. I would never walk up to someone and say, hey, I'm about to bring my dog out here and he's mean, and just like look at them like they need to get up and leave. Is that not crazy? No. I'm a very responsible dog owner. I know my Chihuahua will bite you. So what do? I keep him leashed and harnessed up. I protect my dog and other people. What I would have done was I would have come out here and seen somebody minding their own business, trying to do something private or whatever, and I would have taken my dog the other direction and mind my own business. Right? Doesn't that make sense? Yeah, I know, Kevin, right? Kevin? NPR. Whoop, whoop. 9 months. Yeah, I'm a dog lover. Absolutely. And I used to be strictly cats. Have you guys ever seen that stand-up skit with Eddie Griffin talking about dogs and cats and the differences between dogs and cats? And he's right. He's freaking right, and it's hilarious. I was always a cat owner. I swear to God, about 15 years of my life, when my kids were growing up and when they were little toddlers and stuff, never dogs, never. I always thought dogs were too much work, too stinky, too much. I grew up having cats, and then in my early adulthood, always cats. But things changed. I loved my dear cats. They're very independent. They have cool personalities. But things changed, and I became a dog owner. In 2009, I adopted a stray female lab, and my life changed forever. Sweetest baby girl ever. My boys loved her. And then it just went from there. I also adopted a 10-month-old male Chihuahua. But that's a story for another day. He's 8 years old now, and he's vicious. So the point was, I would never walk up to somebody and interrupt what they're doing. But he's young, the neighbor guy. I don't even know him that well. So, it is what it is. But what my point was, is that spirit, that kind of spirit will try to ruin you. It will always be after what you're doing. Because if it was the wrong day for me, my spirit just can't take it. My energy can't take it. And I would have folded up and just gone on in the house. Because I already feel awkward sitting out here. That's the way spirit wants you to feel. That's that negative ass energy and those darker forces. When you have something on your soul that you are planning to do, that you are planning to share, anything that you want to work on that is creative life force, that's how it goes. That is exactly what pursues you. And it wants you to feel like that. It's been trying to do that shit to me for several years, y'all. It wants you to feel self-conscious, afraid, awkward. Like, I don't have any What am I doing out here anyway? What's the point? Oh God, now I feel so self-conscious. The neighbors are saying something and they're watching me and they're wondering what I'm doing here. Fuck them. It's important to get that attitude inside, man. And they'll think you're arrogant, they'll think you're narcissistic. They won't even have a clue how wonderful and pure-hearted you are. But it's just that you have to fight the good fight. If you don't have that attitude and you don't hold that head up high and say, fuck them, I'm going to do what I want anyway. I'm not going to let darkness stop me. I'm not going to let chaos energy stop me. You have to, or it'll stop you every time. So, anyway, that's what happened when I first got out here. And I knew it. I already knew it was going to happen because it happens to me everywhere I go. Every time I start a live, every time I'm filming a video, every time I'm working on something of spirit, every time I'm doing anything, unless it's feeling depressed, down, angry, work, unless it's along that same line, then something is always coming after me, always trying to interrupt me. I'm used to it. I'm freaking used to it. But this year, I'm stronger. That's the difference. Okay, so I'm sitting out here. I have my little incense. And guys, this is my second live. Again, it's just experimental, just getting a feel for it. So let's jump into some of the topics that I listed on the title. I've lit my little Nag Champa incense. I love it. It makes me feel peaceful and calm. And yeah, this is the wrong time of day. I didn't even figure anybody would be on at this hour. But I'm glad you guys stopped by to say hello. Um, Mid-morning is not going to be a good time for me to do this. I need to be out here at 6:30 a.m. and I doubt people are going to be up on YouTube watching live streams at that hour, But I really do. That's what I really want to do is an early birdie stream where it's so nice and so cool, and that's my favorite time of the morning. And so that nobody will bother me. I've also got some little sage pieces I was going to light up. But anyway, let me get on into the topics that I told y'all I was going to talk about. And every time I move, the sun follows me, and it's right there in my eyes. It's like, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to find just the right spot, a comfortable place that I can live stream, and nobody will come out here bothering me. And it'll be comfortable. Damn sun in my eyeballs. The nerve of people, right? All right, guys, let's recap. So yesterday, what I'm going to do, I hate this. I keep trying to put y'all in a good spot, and it just keeps coming through. I promise I'll find the right spot in a minute. I may have to get up and totally move, which I've been trying to avoid. So I've got a little outline of how the stream's going to go. I'm going to recap what we talked about yesterday for just a little bit, and then we're going to move on into what I listed in the title. Ideally, I would be set up in the house. Ideally, I would have a mic, I would have a beautiful room, and I would be able to do that, and that's coming. I'm not giving up. I've been working on this YouTube channel for almost 4 freaking years, and I've put a lot of work into it. And I'm now over 2,100 subscribers, something like that. I'm over 2,000 subscribers, and I never expected even that. I never thought I would get to my first 1,000. That happened last year. But I started this channel back in, I believe, late 2020. And it means a lot to me. The seeds of this had been growing long years ago, long before social media ever even really blew up. I had been planning and thinking about these types of things. And so, I'm about to approach my 600th video. My next video will make video number 600. And, a lot of my videos, I do put hard work into it. I have gone through the process of learning to edit and, learning to be more creative. And the things that I talk about and select to show on my channel are all things that I'm passionate about. So, yeah, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. And I'm not going to let people make me give up. And don't you either, because that's what this is about. People will try, and sometimes they're not even aware of that they're being used for that spiritually. And that may sound kooky to some people, but I believe that. Now, some people are just assholes and they are doing it to you on purpose. Whatever. That's a different thing. I'm talking about how spiritually dark forces can work through other human beings to stop you, to distract you, to bring chaos to you and to what you have going on. The high frequency that you worked so hard for. So many things you had to overcome, so many things you had to suffer through, so many things you had to have courage to get up and do, to face down, whatever. And yes, there are spiritually dark forces that work through other human beings, and those other human beings don't even know they're being used for that. To walk on could be little things, just walk right on by when you're trying to stream and mess you up, or walk up and pick a fight with you, or that kind of shit happens all the time, y'all. Pay attention. It does. And I'm not letting it happen this time. That kind of energy tried to beat me down to the ground last year. Here they come. Back again. Just before I get into my topic, I hate to have to get into it with somebody on live video. I'm a nice person, but I'm not taking any shit. Let me let them go in, y'all, and then we'll get started, okay? I'm looking for my pen. Gotta have a pen. Okay, now there's a wasp coming across the grass at me. It's like, how many more interruptions am I going to have to go through before I can get into... And the sun. I can't see a damn thing. I guess I'm going to have no choice, y'all, but to get up. Ain't that about a bitch? I really can't see y'all. I'm sure y'all can see me, but I can't see you because of the sun. How awful. People just want to ruin every damn thing for people. Let me see if I can straighten this up. That's a little bit better, but not much. Well, next time I know, this is not a good spot because of the sun. Shit. People want to keep fucking with me. I'm just going to be like, next time I'm going to be like, hey, yeah, y'all want to get on? It just won't stop. I'm going to have to turn completely around. Just no. Absolutely not. No, Satan. No, sir. No, sir. They're not doing it to me this time. I'm not going to let it get to me. I guess I'm going to have to go around the corner. Y'all bear with me. I hate doing this on live, but it's okay. I want it to be all set up and for it to go smoothly, and it's just not. Fucking assholes. Don't piss me off now. So, now I'm coming back around the corner and sit here where I sat yesterday, where at least I can have some peace and quiet and the sun is not in my eyeballs. I'm sorry, y'all. Probably not. Oh, well, I've got 3. Bear with me. I promise you, we're going to get into the topics that I listed on the title. Pick up my little stuff here. Move out of their way. See what I mean? That's that little shit, and you can take it as coincidence as you want, if you want. I took it as coincidence and just normal life stuff for about the first 5,000 times it was happening to me in life. Then I noticed a pattern, okay? Yeah, I took it as coincidence too, the first thousands of times. Oh, okay. It's just a it's just somebody needs this space, or oh, it's just mom coming in, or oh, it's just somebody wants to talk to me, or oh, it's just a phone call, or oh, it's just a bug attacking me, or oh, no, it's all of it. It's all of it over and over and over and over and over and over again. It is really hard though when you're a creative human being. I will say that for sure. It's really hard. All right, here I am. There. This is not where I wanted to sit. The lighting isn't good here. But this is what we're doing for now because at least right here I won't be fucked with by other people, at least for a minute. Nobody lives in this apartment. My apartment's down there. My mom will be coming up here in the next hour or so, though. But, you know, let me get readjusted, guys, and we'll get on topic. Here's my little bell. Hear the raven? I love ravens. They're like kind of like my spirit, my animal totems. And don't even get me started, okay? Some of my tats, y'all can't see it. I wish I could show y'all my favorite one on my back. One day I will. It's a dragon. There's no way you can see it from here. It's probably the best tattoo I have. The rest of them, they need work. That's what that was supposed to be, and it's so awful. The people that did that I don't even want to get started on it. But yeah, there's something about Raven. Every time I hear it, it's like a shift in consciousness. And the little bell, it does the same thing. It's just like a clearing of the space, clearing of the energy, and a shift in consciousness to kind of bring me back to the present moment, to do away with the negative, because that used to would have really broken me. I would have given up. I would have shut the whole thing down, and I'm just not going to let that kind of energy do that to me anymore. And guys, no, it's not coincidence, okay? I know what some people might think. Oh, come on. That's just bullshit. That's life. People, there are other people in the world. They're going to talk, they're going to breathe, they're going to live, they're going to do things. Sure. But no, there is something that happens to highly spiritual people when you're on a certain frequency, and highly creative people. It is really hard being a creative person and trying to find the space and the time and the peace to do it, because of the way other human beings are moving and the way they're living and the way they want to demand on your time, or not be considerate of what you're doing, or even worse, be make fun of or scoff at what you're doing all the time. You have to be a really strong motherfucker on the inside to keep going. You really do. So, all right, guys, I'm set up again. Let me get comfy. Get my little notebook out. Come on now. That's a bee. I hate bees. I'm going to try it at night too. I've been too sleepy the past couple nights, but I'm going to try cutting the live stream on at night. Maybe there'll be less interruptions and doing like maybe a really peaceful nighttime stream. Okay, I got my notebook. Whew. All right, let's recap yesterday. I got the first few minutes of this live stream. I was kind of busy, like learning. This is a learning process for me too. I was kind of busy learning to read comments and kind of answer people as I can and kind of, do that at the same time. So let's jump into these topics before the video gets too long. So to recap yesterday, we brought up the term chosen one. So what is that? And why do people use that term? And what does all that mean? And I talked about that in the live stream yesterday. And how sometimes it's true. And I talked about what it means from different perspectives. Okay? So we're not going to go back through that. But one more thing I wanted to mention about chosen ones and why people use that term. And, basically, if you have chosen a highly spiritual path and you are extremely energetically sensitive, or you have been chosen for that path, I got into all that stuff yesterday. The lighting over here is so piss poor. So bad. I wonder if that works better. What do y'all think? We'll see. Maybe for a minute. But if you are on a path like that, yesterday we talked about how it's hard to work a 9-to-5 job. Okay, and that's I know that's become increasingly more popular lately. It's almost like a trending thing with people, and especially Gen Z, because they're on a whole other freaking level, with computers and technology, and a lot of them are going about it in a smart way. But it's especially difficult for we who are not only highly spiritual and really devoted to a spiritual path in life and a path of self-actualization and working on ourselves psychologically and spiritually, but also getting into middle age. Like, I'll be 50 in a couple years. And it's 1,000 times harder, okay? The whole 9-to-5 job thing and fitting into the regular job thing. It can be. And I talked about all this yesterday about why, okay? It's not that most of us are lazy. Not the people I'm referring to. I know my ass isn't lazy. I don't give a damn if I'm at a regular job or not a regular job or where I'm at. I'm up usually at the crack of dawn, cleaning, getting ready for the day, getting myself dressed, taking care of my animals, planning whatever creative work and producing or whatever I'm going to do for the day, or getting ready for work, or helping my mother. And it used to be taking care of my kids, taking care of my partner before he passed away last year. So I'm not a lazy human, okay? And my partner passing away last year, that's part of what I put in the title. We're going to get into that. Deceased loved ones, losing your husband or your wife, or losing any loved one. And I've lost several. The freshest one is my partner last year. We were together 7 years, and he died of throat cancer last year. He was a severe alcoholic too, and we had a very turbulent relationship, but I loved him very dearly. So we're going to get into that. That's coming. We're going to talk about deceased loved ones and how they visit, how we hear from them. And I'd really, really love to get some conversations going about that with people. Maybe not particularly today in this live stream, but in the coming future, I would really like to hone in on that as a topic and hear from people and their experiences with losing loved ones, and if they hear from them, how they hear from them, how they connect. Okay, I've always been very tapped into that spirit world. Okay, and but I wouldn't call myself extraordinarily gifted or anything. But what little bit that I do receive, I pay very close attention to. And so, yes, I want to share that. We're going to get into that in just a little bit. And the whole clairaudient thing, what I picked up on when my partner passed away, that was so profound I couldn't ignore it. Okay. And then things just kind of flatlined for a few months and it was like nothing. And it felt awful. And then things picked up again. So we'll get into all that in just a minute. God, the breeze feels so good this morning. It's actually chilly, which is unbelievable for the South. But let me finish recapping yesterday's live stream before I move on. And I have an outline. I'm going to try to keep it a bit more concise than it was yesterday. I have an outline. We're going to talk about the deceased loved ones and how they visit us, how we feel them, and then I'm also going to, if I have time, I'm going to answer some not comments. I'm going to answer a comment. I've been going through my comments recently on the Watts case videos because you guys, as I've said before, I generally split my channel. I wouldn't say 50-50, but it's a mix of psychology and spirituality. It's a mix of things like certain crime cases and the psychological dynamics going on within people's relationships and in their minds, and a cross between that and spiritual topics. Okay. And so, yeah, if I have time, I'm going to get to that. I was going through some of my older comments on some of my videos and just trying to take some time and answer people. And that can be hard. That's why a lot of people will make videos to answer their comments because it just gets to be too much. But there was one particular comment that jumped out at me this morning on one of my Watts case videos, Chris and Shanann Watts. And I believe it was one of my videos. It was a series called Stop Bashing Shanann. And there was a particular comment on there that jumped out at me this morning. So if I have time towards the end of this, I'm going to answer that comment. So stay tuned for that if I can get to it. I will definitely try. But to finish recapping yesterday before we move on into our deceased loved ones and how they visit us. Yeah, talking about being a highly spiritual person. It is true, if you are on that path and you are highly devoted to your spirituality, to your self-actualization, to your growth as a human being, you're going to be on a different frequency. That's just it. Okay. I don't give a damn whether it sounds condescending to others. I don't give a damn if it sounds like a joke to others. That's just facts. You are going to be on a different frequency if you are on a highly spiritual path and you're really working on those things within yourself and you're really devoted to that. Then your frequency is going to be constantly evolving and constantly ascending. And there are people that, I get it, that don't even understand what vibrational frequency is and what that means, what energy on a person is and what that means. And it took me years to understand it myself through experience and more knowledge and more devotion to that knowledge and downloads and upgrades. And you're going to be going through all of that if you're a highly spiritual person. That spiritual ascension process shit that they talk about, it's not a joke. It is not a joke, even though everyone that goes through it in their own way. They won't go through it exactly the same as another person, but it's the truth. And so to recap yesterday, yes, when you're going through all of that, it will be hard to function, period, much less at a 9-to-5 job it does become increasingly difficult, and you will feel very alone. You will feel crazy. You will feel ashamed. You will feel so misunderstood. And that's why I feel like those of us who have knowledge of this, those of us who go through this, definitely should support each other, should speak out. You know, a guy posted a couple days ago, I forget his name, but I ran across him here on YouTube, and he was talking about the exact same thing. And I cannot tell you how much it helped me to find his video. Immediate subscribe. Even if I don't like the rest of his content, or I haven't even seen the rest of his content, I can already tell by that one video that he's the type of dude I want to listen to, and that I'm probably going to want to see more from, because he's on that wavelength. He knows he knows of this. He understands it. And I was right as I watched his entire video regarding this subject of the 9 to 5 job, and trying to energetically fit into that when you are on a certain frequency and there are certain things in your soul calling. The more I watched his entire video, the more I was right. He is the type of person that, yeah, he's on the wavelength that I want to listen to, that I need to connect with for support. And sometimes that's the way we can support each other, is by putting videos out, commenting on each other's videos, subscribing to each other's channels, building communities around this type of thing, so that we don't feel alone, so that we don't feel ashamed. Because I don't believe these are things to just be ignored and scoffed at, and, oh, fuck that. That's not logical. You live in the real world. Most of my knowledge comes from deeply intuitive places, not, and it's, the knowledge that people scoff at, the things that people overlook. So, yeah, just to recap yesterday, that was another perspective that I don't know if I really got into. Is that when you're going through something like that, you will feel very alone and ashamed and scared and not know what to say. And it's hard. It is hard for people to even function going through. And I know people who are not going through it, or they're not on that path. That's not meant for them. They're not interested in it. And that's okay. It doesn't make us any better or worse than them. So they need to stop with that whole shit. We're not thinking anything about them. We're not thinking that they're less than and we're greater than, or any of that. So they need to stop scoffing at us. Just go on with it. Quit worrying about it. But yes, if you're on that path, yeah, I feel you. I totally feel you. You are going to have a hard time functioning, period, sometimes. There will be a period within your spiritual awakening and your spiritual ascension process. And I know there's people out there that scoff at those words. They don't understand what they mean. They've been too, they've turned into buzzwords and bullshit. I'm not down with all that. But there will be times when you're going through that kind of thing that you will hardly be able to function at all. Literally receiving spiritual downloads and all of the knowledge and the things you've been studying over the years and the seeds that have been planted within you, and everything will come to a boiling point sometimes where it has to go down for processing. It has to recalibrate, where you're getting upgraded and you're getting downloads at the same time and upgraded, and everything is being processed within you so that you can continue rising up in frequency, and another level mastered and another level mastered of your tests and your lessons and the things that you're going through in life spiritually. And some of us are more devoted than others. Some of us are paying attention to it more than others, and that's okay. Oh, hello, beautiful cardinal. It's a beautiful red bird. Ah. They tried to get my energy this morning, y'all. They do it every time. It never fails. I mean, I'm just to the point where I expect it now, but I'm not. I'm not. And a lot of times that can seem like arrogance to people that don't know. You know, a lot of times just fighting for your own survival can seem like arrogance. It can seem like narcissism. It can seem like attention seeking, or it can seem like big head or ego. And a lot of times it's not. A lot of times you might have the most pure heart in the world, but you're fighting for your survival because you're being energetically attacked constantly. Spiritual gang stalking is real, very real. And so it's not an arrogant thing at all. It's just that you have to be tough. You have to be fierce when it comes to that kind of thing. And you've just gotten to a point where you're saying, fuck no. I am sick and tired of feeling bad. I am sick and tired of being ashamed. I'm sick and tired of letting every little thing make me feel self-conscious and bad about myself and interrupt me every time I want to do something. And it's where you're finally standing back up and coming back into your own and taking up the fucking space that you deserve to take and not backing down and not letting people's energy bully you. That's what that is. It's not arrogance at all. And you know, also, even though I talk a lot about narcissistic abuse in a lot of my videos, because that's where I was in the past, and I've had to heal and grow through all of that stuff. And I have a much higher spiritual understanding of life and now and relationships and why we go through certain things, of course. But still, within psychology, this stuff remains. And you know, there's never, an excuse for narcissistic abuse or anything like that. But a lot of people don't understand narcissism in general and how, on most people, it's just them trying to survive. It really is. Narcissism is survival. It is the human will to survive at all costs, to keep going, no matter how shitty they feel, no matter how low self esteem, no matter. But a lot of people do have a lot of stuff inside they can't cope with, that they can't face, that they're afraid of. And so, of course, they jack up that ego to be able to face those things or to be able to. A lot of times, people will even develop an alter ego so that they can. I've seen that shit a lot. If they just left it up to their personality, nah, they would never get on camera. They would feel too shy. They would ask all kinds of questions filled with self-doubt and awkwardness. Who am I to speak? Why would anybody want to hear me? What, but man, when they let that narcissism take over, that healthy narcissism, there is such a thing. All of us have some narcissism, or we would not survive planet Earth. We would not survive here without some narcissism. So when we let that healthy narcissism kick up in that ass and take over, it is. It's almost like an alter ego takes over and says, oh, yes, the fuck you can do it. You have every right to do it. Put that head back. Take up space. Be heard. Be confident. Love yourself. Feel good within your ego. Feel good about what God's given you. I don't give a damn. And people don't understand that. They don't understand where that's really coming from. I don't give a fuck. I've been through everything imaginable, y'all, and I've had to prepare myself for it. Last year, my partner died after we had had a lot of turbulence and hurt and betrayal in our relationship that never got closure. I had lost my job, my car, my home. My health was failing at the time. I had certain issues. My teeth were getting all fucked up. Everything imaginable that could have happened to me was happening to me at that time. And I was a very broken soul, thinking a lot of days last year, what purpose do I have now? My children are gone. They're grown. My partner's gone. Everything is broken to pieces. I've lost everything I ever owned. I'm living somewhere where I can't really spread out and be who I want to be. I'm trapped. what's the purpose for going on now? I had days like that last year, y'all, where I felt so fucking bad. So just, that's it for me. Just like that. It was almost like it happened overnight. All of my strength, all of my zest for life, all of my inspiration, all of my motivation, all of my high frequency. I'm getting older. My looks are changing and going, and, you know, teeth problems, and, you know, and I had to really get within self and get with God and get with my spirit team and remember. It's totally like an ego death. Totally like a complete and total ego death. I had it all. The worst tower, the worst dark night, all of it. And your ego comes out of something like that transformed. But you still need some ego to survive. It's just you shed off the more negative parts of your ego, as many of them as you can, and you keep the positive parts of your ego. But yeah, I definitely went through that last year. And the internet's cruel, y'all. This world is cruel. They will literally take you out if you let them. There's a lot of people in this world, they're nothing but a bunch of goddamn sarcastic fucking bullies. They have all of the soul and the emotional depth of a fucking dead rat. And I'm just being honest. There's a lot like that, a lot of people like that in this world, who are always laughing and scoffing and making satire out of everyone's fucking deep personal issues. And um, that kind of thing has taken a lot of people out. It gets in their mind and their soul spiritually, and it makes them take themselves out, or it makes them never get up again, feeling so worthless and so empty. I had to fight that. And I had to get deep within my ego and my soul and my spirit. And I had to say, so what? So what? I don't give a damn what happens, what I've lost, what they've taken, what choices I made, how shameful it was, what happens, what I look like, how old I get, how my looks fade or don't fade. I don't give a damn. Every tooth falls. I don't give a fuck. I am not going to let this break me spiritually. I am still worth something. I'm still a valuable human. I can still put love and value into myself, and I still have something to share with others, and I have to keep going. That is narcissism. Narcissism comes into play to save your fucking life, to keep you alive. And a lot of people don't understand that. So then all of a sudden, when you've been down that low and you really do feel like garbage about yourself, all of a sudden you're like up on camera and you've got your makeup on and your earrings on and you're like, what's up, everybody? And you got that ego jacked up high. I understand that a lot of times and what that is. And other people are always sitting back going, that attention seeker, you know, that they're fake. They don't blah, blah, blah. They, you know, they're assholes. They're just being condescending and arrogant. A lot of times that's not the case at all. They're very hurt people. And that narcissism is like an alter ego. It has come over them to save their life, to get them back up and to push them where they need to go. Because without that alter ego, they would never do it. They would feel like a worthless piece of shit and possibly just take themselves out or fade into oblivion. So that's another spin on narcissism. It's just another way of looking at it. Not to excuse narcissistic abusers ever, but there's many, many, many layers to that kind of thing, guys. Everything in this life is multidimensional, not just one way, not just one perspective. So a certain amount of healthy narcissism will save your ass when you can't do it for yourself until you are stronger. It had to do that for me. like the live streams because you can jump topic. You can pretty much do whatever you want. You can jump different topics. It's different than like when I make my regular videos and I kind of like have to make sure I'm going with the flow in a straightforward fashion with the video topic, even though I don't always do it with them either. But I love live because you can, just jump topic and talk about what you want. Pretty much do what you want. Damn, I should have brought a sweater now that I've moved over into the shade. It's chilly over here, y'all. Okay, so let's move on. We recapped enough about yesterday, and I got into some other stuff that I had not planned on. But that's another reason that I love live, is because I'm one of those people, I'd rather do it that way than regular videos. I love to just start talking and see what flows from me, what channels out. Hey, James. Can't stand working for someone else. I feel you, dude. I feel you all the way. I'm serious, especially as we get older, man. It's difficult. And again, like I said, it has nothing to do with laziness. It is most human beings that feel that way. It is not because we're fucking lazy. As I stated yesterday, I'm a hard worker. I don't mind working hard. I don't mind being accountable. But as we get older and the more energetically sensitive we are, and especially if we're highly devoted to a certain spiritual path and working on those things, and we just feel it, it nags at us and nags at us and nags at us, we have some kind of calling. Okay? That's the last thing I'm going to mention before I move forward and get into talking about deceased loved ones. When you have a feeling like that, hell yeah, it can be hard fitting into the 9 to 5 and working for other people, because a lot of times God does have a calling for us to be on a certain path, something we're not looking at, okay? That's got to be telling us something, and those are the things I pay attention to. And it's more, it's more than just, oh, I don't want to be at work today. Oh, I don't know. It's more than that. I'm referring to some whole other ball game. When you have tried and tried and tried for years to fit into that kind of schedule, those kind of things. I've worked my ass off in my life. I'm 48 years old. I had children to raise. I had to work. I'm talking about something different. When it finally gets to the point where even trying to be there, you show up there, you put your best in while you're there, but you keep getting ripped off of that timeline for some reason. Something keeps going wrong at these jobs. Something, when it gets to the point where your energy cannot even stand to vibrate around those people, within those establishments, within the confines of that structure and that schedule, to me, I finally had to go, okay, God, okay, because of the shit that was happening to my body, my mind, my life. You finally get to the point where you realize that a lot of times it is God trying to talk to you. It is your spirit team, the universe, whatever the hell you want to call it. What is it trying to tell you? That's how I look at it in life, man. But you have to use the power of discernment. You have to be able to discern when it's just bullshit and when it's really a situation that is talking to you, that you need to pay attention and look at, where is this trying to guide me? What is this telling me to do? What is it that I'm not looking at in my life that I need to be looking at? And then that's when I start digging within myself. And so that's the way I had to finally start seeing it.
is that, this is going to be tough. I'm going to have a lot of courage. It's going to be scary walking through it. But clearly, the powers that be, higher power, God, whatever, does not want me here in this establishment on this fucking job that I've been showing up to, putting my all into, and literally getting energetically attacked every which way but loose on that job. And just horrible. I went into it in my live stream yesterday. And so I finally had to just let go and say, okay. And that's happened to me 2 or 3 times at 2 or 3 different jobs. And I finally just had to say, okay, God, show me. I am open and get within myself and take a look at what it truly is I'm supposed to be doing on this earth right now at this point, at this age. And what I'm really supposed to be looking at and focusing on, because it wasn't that fucking job. But it's scary because it can cost you. It can put you back in a place of fear, anxiety, income loss, all those things. I know, I get it. I've been through it. I was just looking at some of the comments. You guys are funny. All right, let's move on. So we recapped a little bit about yesterday. I promise, guys, I'm going to get better and better at this. But I'm kind of just enjoying the practice and kind of shooting the shit with people as they come along. That was funny. Like when people just start popping up and saying random shit, that is hilarious to me. Now I know what's her name, Sloan Bella goes through. I watch a lot of her lives, and she'll be talking for a while, and then all of a sudden she'll read something and she'll say something so random and off the wall, and that shit is hilarious to me. Like the dude who popped up talking about Diddy when I first started my live. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? All right, guys. Next up, we're going to talk about deceased loved ones for a bit, and then I'm going to try to answer the comment about the Watts case video. Let me see. Should I move my camera? I guess it'll be all right there. I was reviewing yesterday's live stream, and certain parts of it you couldn't see or hear very well. But yeah, they'll get better and better. I'll get to where I get better and better at it. I'm gonna get out here earlier and earlier, find the right spot where nobody fucks with me. So, okay, the deceased loved one thing. I have lost several people in my family. I lost my partner last year to throat cancer. And I'm still not right from it. Lost my father in 2012. And each time you lose a person in your life, it's going to be a different level of grief. They're all going to make you grieve, depending on how close you were. Grief is horrific, and it comes in so many different stages and levels, and shock and anger. It has its phases, right? It's going to be one thing losing a parent. It's going to send you through a whole other realm of feeling. It's going to be something else if you've lost a child, which I never have, but my partner did. In fact, when we first got together, he had just lost his child, one of his 3 children, suddenly. And I have had to hold the hand of a person and walk down through there the whole entire time with this man grieving the loss of his child. And his child was special needs, so he was very, very close to this child for 14 years and then lost the child suddenly. So that's a whole other level of grief. And then losing a sibling. There's another level, which I have. I've lost 2 siblings. I've lost a baby niece, my sister. Her little baby girl was stillborn. That was a whole other level. And then losing a partner, okay? Your wife, your husband, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your beloved partner that you are deeply in love with, still in love with, that you are, not that all these other people don't matter, because they do. And grief is grief, no matter if it's a best friend, a coworker. Losing somebody you love, you're close to, and you spend time with will put your ass into shock that you've never known before. And heavy grief and despair and all kinds of feelings. But when it comes to losing a partner, that you are, when it comes to sexual involvement with somebody and that level of intimacy, that takes things to a whole other level. That's a whole other level of connection with a human being on this earth. That's as connected as 2 people can be. Literally, you know, breathing in and taking in each other's essence at all times. There's my mom. I was hoping I could finish the live before she got back. I'm going to try this again either tomorrow or the morning after, and I'm going to set my damn alarm clock. I'm going to get out here at 6 a.m. when there's nobody awake, because this did not go well for me this morning. But yeah, so there's different levels, you guys, and I've had different experiences when loved ones pass away. They've always come to visit me, but in different ways. Okay, so I put that in the title, Deceased Loved Ones and How They Visit. Um, and other people, that's, again, this is a subject that absolutely fascinates me, that I would love to hear from people on. The more, I always ask people when they lose somebody, have you dreamed of them yet? Because that is a way that they visit, but that's not the only way. And there are people out there that can teach you and guide you on how to pay attention, because just the average person doesn't know. Like my mom, I'm always having to tell her how to open up and receive. All these years, she's never had a dream or any type of connection after losing 2 sons and a husband. And I'm always trying to coach her a little bit on how to open her psyche and the things that I've experienced. And I tell her about when they visit me and what I feel and what I see and pick up on. And the average person just doesn't know this stuff. If number one, if they're not in tune with that world, but number 2, you got to get a little bit of coaching and guidance on it. So in my life, not only am I in tune with that world, but I was always drawn 20, 25 years ago, even before that every time someone would pass away, first motherfucking thing, first of all, it's going to take me right on into the ethers. That's my energy. I'm already trying to connect. Like I'm already feeling shit and, dream visits, and I'll get into that. But also, back in the day, before I was more knowledgeable about it, hey, I was in the backyard, but I got interrupted back there. No, so the sun started coming up too hot, and the neighbors. I'll tell you about it later.
All right. I'm going to call Lincolnsburg. They might take Lance in.
Okay.
And maybe it needs someplace. You know, I gotta sweep this up. This is a mess.
All right. Well, I'm gonna finish what I'm doing.
No, I didn't like to do it. I'm gonna do this.
The lighting sucks. Bad lighting. Bad lighting. But yeah, this is a subject I could talk about all day. The deceased loved one thing. The spiritual stuff. One of the number one things I would always do back before I was more knowledgeable about it is not only what I would pick up on, but I always had teachers, mentors, guidance, studies, books. That's just common sense to me. That's the first thing I'm going to do. Back 20, 25 years ago, I'm reading books like Journey of the Soul and Life After Death and, books by all kinds of different mediums. And I'm taking in the knowledge to open up that awareness. Not that I'm specifically just going to follow that one person's teaching or their one way or belief. No, not at all. But what all that knowledge is out there for is to open your consciousness, to open your psyche, to kind of teach you how to pay attention, what to look for. And then you can take their knowledge and develop your own ways. All that is just kind of a guidance. That's it. It's not something for you to just follow to the T or, you know. But yeah, that's one of the first things I would do back in the day and still do it sometimes. The minute somebody passes away that I'm close to, yeah, I would get right into my books, right into, you know, listening to things about the afterlife and getting guidance on, how to pay attention and how to receive. And even this last time, even though I am way more knowledgeable 25 years later, I know what to do. Um, After my partner passed away last year, I'm still going to need that reinforcement. I'm still tuning into people like Sloan Bella and Matt Frazier and Tyler Henry and different people, um, Dolores Cannon's work, and always adding, always opening and expanding the consciousness, always getting that reinforcement. You got to keep that. I believe we are eternal students, so a lot of times the average person, if they're not, and that's okay, that's not a judgment, you're into what you're into. That's just it. And you're going to be more knowledgeable about what you're passionate about. Back 20 years ago, instead of partying all the time like a lot of my friends were, oh yeah, I went out and had me some drinks. Don't think I didn't. But a lot of times, instead of partying, I was either at home with my kids or when they were gone with their father on the weekends, my ass was sitting at home with my books. I was going to therapy and for my childhood trauma issues and my own self development, and sitting at home with my spiritual books, starting with Dr. Wayne Dyer. I'm very fond of Wayne Dyer's work. Um, and, it just went from there. Just taking in as much knowledge as I could on things that fascinated me and things that I was passionate about, um, whether that was reincarnation or whether that was the afterlife and how they visit, and listening to case studies and psychic mediums, past life regressions, or whether it was just all kinds of things. That was one of the first things I would do, because that's why a lot of people aren't getting visits or not feeling some sort of connection to their loved ones after death, is because they don't know how. They don't read this kind of stuff. They don't do this kind of stuff. They don't tune in like that. Therefore, they're not really open to it. A lot of people are just busy, go, 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 day to day, and they're very tuned out. They're very disconnected from the spirit world, from their deeper intuitive knowledge and feeling energies and things like that. And it's also hard for our deceased loved ones to connect to us when we are heavily depressed, when we are deep off in it, man, in the despair and the grief process, and we're crying ourselves to sleep every night and we're feeling so fucking low every day. That is because they are vibrating so much higher, at such a higher vibrational frequency, higher dimensions. And we are vibrating on a very low vibrational frequency. Even we who are working our way through higher vibrational frequencies to keep raising our frequency as best we can, even we, while on this earth, are always going to be very low vibrational compared to the dimensions they're in. They're very high frequency. So, yeah, it's hard for them to connect to us. Very hard, especially when we are too overcome with grief. So, in my past history, 3 months, they would always wait 3 months to visit. It was weird. And I guess it was because by about the 3 month mark, you know, the crying had stopped and I was kind of getting a little bit adjusted and accepting it a bit more. But it also would depend on who it was. But there was a pattern there for a while when I would lose somebody like my dad, then my older brother, then one of my ex boyfriends, good friends, passed away, suddenly killed. There was a pattern there for a while that 3 months. And I finally got to the point where I'd be like, all right, well, they'll be here in about 3 months. I'll see them. Yeah. Um, and then they would show up in my dream, sure as shit. And I had some really beautiful and profound visitations from deceased loved ones in dreams. But I know that they were visits because there will always be something that sticks out that's different than a regular dream. With my friend that was killed on a motorcycle, he was killed around the time, right after he was killed, is when I first started what I call my spiritual awakening. It's when it all began for me more heavily, when I noticed a lot of changes within myself. That was 2008. But I had always been spiritual growing up and kind of drawn to that kind of thing all my life. But it was right after he passed. I was approaching 30. I was 28. But I had long before that. You know, I should say my spiritual awakening started 24, in my early 20s, when I started having sleep paralysis and out of body experiences and realized that sleep paralysis is a portal to higher dimensions. I should say that that's when my spiritual awakening started, because to me, that basically is the start of it. When I started seeing and experiencing all of these really profound things about the universe and about life in general, and when these things started being opened up and revealed to me. But I usually say 2008, when I was getting closer to 30, because everything that I learned in those early years, all of it really kind of clicked up a level. It's like it all got in there, and all the knowledge that I gained after the beginning of the out of body experiences and all those years, all that knowledge finally processed and leveled up and clicked in where I really started to understand it. And I could literally feel the consciousness expanding at that age for the first time. So that's why I say that. And it continued for many years after that. So with that person passing away, he was killed on a motorcycle.
suddenly. And I hadn't even seen him in 2 years, but he was a good friend. We dated for a few months in the years before, and just a really nice guy, loving guy, sweet guy. We didn't work out or anything. I wasn't in love with him or nothing, but and I had messaged him a couple days before he died, hey, we hadn't seen each other in forever. If you need to talk, give me a shout. Because he had posted on MySpace back then, he had posted that he was getting a pacemaker. And I just thought, it was on my soul. Say something to him, just reach out, be a friend. And so I did that. And then 2 days later, I got the news that he had been tragically and suddenly killed on a motorcycle wreck. And it devastated me. And I wasn't even close to this guy. Not at that time. I hadn't even seen him in 2 years. And we only dated for a very short time. But there was something about this guy. There was something about his spirit and his soul. And I knew all of his friends, his closest friends, and how much they loved him. And they were such a tight-knit group. And the way I took his death, it almost took me to another planet. Now, I really grieved it hard. I went into almost another realm for a couple of weeks, and I was shown a lot of things spiritually. Hit me hard. And I experienced a lot of phenomenon at that time. That's when I learned, about connecting to them. I experienced a lot of things. I would be listening to songs, some of his favorite songs or different types of music, and things would happen electronically. But the most profound thing that happened to me was during that time with his death. So one night I was asleep. Morning. I was about to come into consciousness, just about to wake up, just before the brink of consciousness, guys. And that is that sweet spot. One day I really want to get into talking about that sweet spot. The spot between being fully conscious and awake and that spot in between where you're not dead ass asleep, but you're not wide ass awake either. But you're right in between. You're just before being dead ass asleep, or just before being wide ass awake. That little sweet spot. There is a little sweet spot, and one day I want to talk about that because that's where they are. That is how you hit that dimension. Okay? It's fascinating. That is where I find them at most of the time. They are in that dimension. And professionals and people who are more expert at this, they would have a name for that. They would have a name for what that dimension is within our consciousness when we're falling to sleep or just before waking. I don't know. Alpha, beta, theta, sigma, delta, delta. Forgive my ignorance on that. But yes, they would probably have a name for that. But there is a sweet spot in there. Because many times I have run into my deceased loved ones in that spot, right there, in that part of consciousness, just before I go dead ass to sleep, but I'm not still wide ass awake either. I call it dozing. When I'm dozing, it's like slipping into another room, and that's where they are. Oh, many, many times, many stories about that. But that developed over time. Now there's some asshat over here making loud noises. Again, I'm going to have to start doing this way, way earlier. That's that sweet spot, though. But that didn't come until later years. How my deceased loved ones first started visiting me was in dreams. Okay? And back to the friend who was killed on a motorcycle. I was in deep and heavy grief in the first few weeks, and I had probably gone to sleep crying that night. And I was just before coming into consciousness that morning. Just at the brink, where you're kind of moving that head around and you're not awake, but you're not dead ass asleep, just barely about to open my eyes. And I kind of opened my eye and not conscious yet fully, but I felt something graze my cheek.
lightly kissed my cheek. And I kind of opened my eyes and kind of woke up a little bit and didn't think too much about it at first. And I kind of got up and I walked into my kitchen and still in kind of a daze, almost like I had been somewhere with someone. And I had the biggest smile. I had the biggest smile on my face for like 10 minutes. Getting my coffee going, I got to get the kids up in a little bit, and I'm making coffee and I'm laughing and smiling. I'm still kind of in a daze. And I felt as though I had just been somewhere with someone, and I had definitely felt someone kiss my cheek very lightly, like an angel. And I got my coffee made and it kind of wore off, and I woke up better, and it's like, oh my God. That was him. It came to me later that I had just been with him in the dream world. And that was a visitation from him checking on me. And he always made me laugh and smile. And I will never forget that experience that morning. Never. Never. It just depends, guys. It depends on who it is, how you felt about them, what the energetic tie is, what frequency everybody's on at the time. There's things that factor in. Now, that kind of shit doesn't happen to me all the time, and it hasn't happened with all of my loved ones. But it did happen with him. And oddly, I wasn't even that close to him. Now, I can't say that I've had an experience like that with my partner. I wish to God I could say it, because I have missed him more than anything this year. And we did have a lot of time together. We were as close as two people could be. I was there on his chest when he took his last breath, holding him until his dying breath. I mean, we were very close for years, and I can't say that I've had an experience like that with him yet. It's been a year since his death. Now, I have picked up on him, but I can't say it's been anything like what happened with that friend who died in the motorcycle wreck. The touching, the kissing of the cheek, and what I felt before I came into consciousness, and the big smile on my face, and just knowing that I had been somewhere with this person. It was extraordinary. But that was also back when I was first going through, brand new to the spiritual awakening thing. And, really all the knowledge that I had gotten over the years was really beginning to set in and click with me. And I was a lot younger, and I was a lot less jaded. I was a lot less broken back then. I had a lot more hope and a lot more higher frequency too. It's hard. It is hard for them to connect to us, guys, because we are, no matter how we try, no matter how hard we work, a lot of times we are on a very low vibrational frequency. We're depressed. We're in despair. We miss them. We're grieving. We're tired. We're exhausted. We're working hard. We're bitter. We're pissed. We're angry. That is all very low vibrational, and it's really hard for them to connect to us on that frequency. But so that was just one of my experiences with a deceased loved one in the afterlife. After that, my father passed. My older brother passed. My little brother passed. He was killed. Police tackled him in my mother's backyard on my birthday in 2018. 2 family members lost that year. My little brother in August, and my baby niece in December of 2018. But for years it became, dream visits. They would show up after about 3 months. My father showed up in 3 months. My older brother showed up in 3 months. The guy who was killed on a motorcycle showed up in a dream after 3 months too. I just had that other experience with him. But, it got to the point where they would show up in dreams. and I would know they were okay. Um, Nothing I would call super extraordinary. Now, with my father, it was extraordinary because he showed up in 3 months, and I waited and I waited and I waited. I was beside myself when my father passed away, even though he was abusive to me. Yes, even though I had the past that I had with him, I was beside myself when I lost my father, when he passed away. I don't care. I don't care if you were close or not. When you lose a parent, it's going to do something to you. It's going to bring up a lot of things within you. And I just didn't feel right, man. I didn't feel right for a whole year. But it took about 3 months. I grieved hard. I was in a lot of shock. And oh my God, damn, I thought he was going to make it. And I was carrying all this. And it took about 3 months. And I was like, where are you? Why haven't you shown up yet? And here's what happened with my father. He had been at the hospital on dialysis. He was hospitalized 11 days before he died. And they had put him on dialysis, trying to help. He was septic. He was becoming septic. He was just old, he was 68, and he had been an alcoholic in his early life and then an opiate addict in his later life. Well, there you go. It fucked up his organs, and he had become septic. And he was too old. Not too old on the scale of things, but too old in the regard that he had done too much to his body, really, to be saved. And they had him on dialysis, man, and I really thought he was going to make it, though. And I had gone home from the hospital that night from visiting, really hopeful that he'd make it. And that morning when I woke up, before I came into consciousness, again, here we go with that. This wasn't a dream. This was different. Right before I opened my eyes, right before I came into full consciousness, I had this vision, like a dream, but not, of my father just walking. He had his head down, wasn't looking up at me, didn't say nothing. He was just walking. Just walking, man. And he had on a white suit, not a business suit, not a nice suit. My dad wasn't that type of dude. He didn't wear that kind of shit. He had a white muscle shirt and white slacks. He had the muscles and he looked younger. But it was my dad. He was just walking. And there was nothing around him. Nothingness. Just nothing. But just walking. All in white. I'm like, I wake up the next morning and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck? Why did I see that? No. I was like, I know what that means. No. And I have so many questions about that kind of thing, y'all. This is the kind of thing I love to get deeply off into. I love to hear feedback from other people with their deceased loved ones and what they've seen and what they've experienced, because I have a lot of questions. I knew what that was. It's real. It put my ass into shock. I knew that meant, but I didn't want to know it. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to believe it. Because when I left the hospital, I thought he was going to be okay, even though he was very, very sick. Turns out, no sooner than I got there that day, that afternoon, they're starting to talk about, you're probably going to have to make some decisions soon. My cousin came in from out of town. He's a surgeon. He also looked at my father and he said, he's not going to make it. It doesn't matter what they do. They're probably going to start talking to you about taking him off of life support. You need to let him go because He's beyond the point. There's not much that can be done. He's starting to swell from dialysis. Okay, this is what they approached me with, And within a couple days, yeah, that's the decision that had to be made. He was dying. He was going. And so I know that 2 days before, he came to me to say goodbye. That's what that was. Didn't say nothing. In those dimensions, they don't talk most of the time. Now, some of you may have experiences where they do talk. They can choose. They can choose to present themselves however they want to. But generally, they will look younger or in a better state of life, quality of life. They can appear however they want to look, though. And most of the time, they use telepathy. They don't speak. It'll be like it was as if they said. It's like a download. So yeah. And I have so many questions about that shit. About why are they always in white, y'all? Anybody else have that experience where your loved one who was about to pass away came to you in a vision or a dream just before you're waking up or when you're falling to sleep? You're not even dead ass asleep. And they're all in white. And this sticks out as something like pretty profound. And then they pass away. Or they've come and visited you since they've passed away, even years later or whatever, and they're in fucking white. What is that? Why do hundreds and hundreds and if not thousands of people report that their dead loved ones visit them in white? Why are they in white? I really want to know. And that's too much to be a coincidence, y'all. Right? That's too much to be a coincidence that everybody reports their loved ones visit them and they're in a white dress or a white suit or white pants or a white gown. Same thing. Oh, y'all, I haven't even gotten into my dead celebrity dreams. Yes, dead celebrities visit my fucking dreams. For years, I had dreams of dead celebrities. But granted, it would be ones that I had felt some kind of connection to or admired their work, or I don't know why they would show up, some of them. I've got a whole list of them, though. Certain people that either meant something to me or I admired their work. It used to be a running joke with my sister when one of them would pass away. Well, they'll be here soon. They'll show up in my dream. Oh, yeah. People like Anna Nicole Smith back when she died. James Gandolfini. Beth Chapman. And Beth Chapman was also in white. Dog the Bounty Hunter and his wife Beth, she passed away from cancer at age 50. That shit hurt. I liked Beth a lot. She too came in white. They don't all come in white. But what's the deal with white? I want to know. Does anybody know? I think I'm going to do a whole video just about that. Why they come in white. Kevin, Joyce Myers. Who's Joyce Myers? Oh, thank you, Robbie. New subscriber, Christopher Lee. Thank you. I was married to somebody named Lee many, many years ago. I was 17. Thank you. Glad to have you. Your passion. Yeah, share away. Feel free. Hello from the UK. Hello. Guys, I know this one has gotten pretty long, but that's the cool thing about live streams, you know? You can go as long as you want, talk about what you want, and people can come back later if they didn't catch it the first time, and they can kind of scroll through the live and see what they want to see. I appreciate you all for being here. And, but yeah, please, y'all, if you see this in the future, anytime, anybody who runs across this, feel free. I'd really like to know your thoughts on why people in the afterlife show up to us wearing white. Why so many people report this, and what your experiences are. And I think I'm going to put together a video, like not live stream, but just an entire video about that because it fascinates me. I want to know why. What's the deal with that? But so, yeah, my father showed up like that, and I knew that meant that he was leaving this world. And y'all, it to this day, it still gives me chills thinking about that because that shit is real. How do they do that? How do they project their consciousness to you to give you the vision like that, that they're leaving, that it wasn't a dream, you know? And I went to sleep that night, I think watching Frasier. I wasn't even thinking about Dad. I was needing to get my mind off of it. I had been crying that day and whatnot. But, and this was just before waking up the next morning, but you can tell when it stands out that it's different from a dream. There won't be anything around them, no interaction. It was a vision. It was more like a vision. And I'm just like, wow, they really can. They do. I'm not lying. I mean, it's not, you know, and maybe they don't for everybody. I'm not like trying to convince you to, you know, that's up to you. But the experiences I've had, it's just way too much to be coincidence. It's way too much to be bullshit. Way too much to be dreams. The things I have felt and been shown by deceased loved ones and people in the afterlife. So then, about 3 months goes by, and I told y'all I was pretty fucked up about it. And just waiting. Like, when are you going to show up, Dad? Where are you? I need to know, are you okay? Like, you know, man. About 3 months goes by, and one morning, taking a mid-morning nap about 10 a.m. And kind of like a lucid dream, I realize that I'm in the dream. I'm in a dream. And all of a sudden, there's my dad. And he's got his same truck. You know, they can appear and set it up however they want to appear. And here's the thing. I had been really worried and feeling guilty because I had his white truck at that time. I inherited it. And I let my boys drive it some, and then I had to sell it because we needed to pay rent. And I had been feeling really bad and really guilty and just really fucked up. So all of a sudden, my dad's here. He's in the dream. And I'm driving around my grandma, my mom. We're all in the truck with Dad. And here he is, and we get out, and he gives me this big hug. And he kisses me right on the fucking forehead in the dream, right? This feels so real. And I'm like, oh my God, Dad, you're okay. I've been waiting for you. I've been waiting. And it was almost just like real life, except we were in another dimension. And he didn't speak. You don't hear words. It's telepathy. I'm fine. Not mad at you. I'm not upset with you. There's no problems about the truck. Everything's cool. It's as if they say that. That was the first time he visited me. And when I woke up, I had been sleeping like this, with my head on the pillow, not on my side, looking up. There's no fucking way. I woke up with a red mark on my face, on my head, right where he had kissed me in the dream, y'all. So that was the second angel kiss that I'd ever received in a dream. Yep. And my father, hello, Birdie, my father proceeded to stay. Okay. Now, that's the weirdest thing I've ever experienced. Most people that pass away, whether how close I was or not, my brothers and my friend, and different, it just depends on the person and how much I want to connect to their energy or how much I think of them or whatnot. But most people, it would be like one dream visit and that's it. They're gone on to the spirit realm, or I'm sure they look in on me and stuff, or every once in a while. There was a period in my life where all of my deceased relatives would be around me all the time in my sleep. It was a period of a year or two where I was really suffering from a lot of depression and soul sickness when I would be premenstrual, and I would sleep a lot, and I'd go into the spirit realms, and every time I would dream, they would all be there together in several dreams. My grandmother, my father, my brother, my older brother, and James Gandolfini. I'm not kidding, y'all. I'm not kidding y'all. After James Gandolfini passed, I have had many celebrity dreams of people that have passed. And it's almost like when people who are on the other side realize that you can pick up on them. I'm not a psychic medium. I don't call myself that. I believe we are all very psychic to a degree if we pay attention to it and develop it. But if they find out that you can pick up on them in the slightest and that you're paying attention and that you're aware, a lot of times they will keep, more of them will come. That's the only thing I can put together about these deceased people and why they would come to my dreams. Another one and another one and another one and another one over the years. Like, Sloan Bella talks about that sometimes. A lot of psychics talk about that. Like how if they find out you're an open channel, they want to come and they want to get messages through to people. And I've never been really good at that. I don't pick up on, it to that level, but I find that very interesting. And so with my father, he, out of everyone, he stuck around. I don't know what happened. I don't know if maybe he didn't cross over all the way at first. I don't know if maybe he became earthbound. I don't know if for a while, but unlike any other person that had ever passed away and dreams I'd ever had, for an entire year, my father was there. Every fucking time after that first visit that I went to sleep or I went into the dream world, my dad was there. He was in my dream somehow, doing something. And then, like I said, one time he and James Gandolfini both were there. Right after James Gandolfini passed away. Because I was so fond of the Sopranos story. And so fond of the character Tony Soprano. And always taking in that energy of James Gandolfini. I really admired him as an actor. And I don't know, there was on some kind of energetic level, my sister and I both very, very attached to that show, to that energy, to, I don't know why James Gandolfini showed up. He always reminded me a lot of my father in certain ways. I cried when James Gandolfini died too. I remember when it happened. It was later in the year after my father passed. It was several months after my father passed. And I remember I dropped everything and drove straight over to my mother's house to tell her. We were all big fans of The Sopranos. I wish I could clear my sinuses, man. But yes, after that, my father was there for almost an entire year. Like that's unheard of. Most people that pass away in my life don't do it that frequently. They're not there every single time. And it was strange. I used to have dreams of my partner like that while he was alive. If we were ever part, if we ever parted, and sadly we had to a lot of the time because he was alcoholic. He went to jail a lot. Almost every year he'd go to jail for 3 or 4 months, and we would be torn apart. Or he was hospitalized a lot because he had a lot of illnesses, or rehab. So it never failed. In the times that we were parted like that, every fucking time I would go to sleep, it was like he was right there. When I would slip off into that other realm, he was right there. It's like we were always together in other dimensions. But now that he's gone, now that he's passed away, it's not like that anymore. It's like it's really upsetting to me. Like why the energy disconnect, you know? And there's a lot I know we don't understand about the spirit world. And it's not that he doesn't, it's not that I don't pick up on his energy. I do. But it's nothing like it was the dreams when he was alive. And that energy pull and that connection that we had at that time, you know? And I'm thinking, you know, maybe it just needs time because of all that happened to us, and maybe all he's going through on the other side. We don't know. I don't know. But I'm working on myself, and I'm working on increasing my frequency so that I can connect with him more. But I did have some experiences when my partner first passed away last year, and I'm going to tell you guys about those. But since this stream has gotten so long, I'm going to go ahead and stop the conversation about deceased loved ones, because that is something that is so passionate to me, and it is something that I have so much more to tell you guys. Experiences that I've had, so many more questions, things I really want to get into examining and elaborating on, clairaudience, and you know what happened to me after my partner passed away, what I was hearing and feeling, and all that. So I'm going to save that and pick up the very next live stream. That is what and I'm going to quit doing multiple topics. I'm going to try to keep it to one topic. So I'm going to hang on, and we're going to pick this up, okay? We're going to pick this up in my next live stream. The continuation of deceased loved ones in the spirit world, how they visit, how we pick up on them, what our experiences are, and more. Okay, so we'll pick up where we left off in the next live stream. I've got that. Write it down in my notebook. But before I go, let me go ahead and touch on what I mentioned in the title as far as answering the comments about Chris Watts. Because I've got somebody trying to call me, and I really need to take the call. But again, it's been nice to jump on and just experiment with live streaming and just kind of let things flow and talk about some things and kind of learn how to interact with people. Hey, Chris, I'm from the South. I don't usually specifically say where I'm from, but yeah, I'm from Arkansas. Yep. That's is what it is. Okay, but before I go, Chris Watts. I love people's random comments, y'all. They're so funny. Just like the devil, Chris Lee says, just like the devil, he wants to pull you from God. You're spot on, man. You're spot on. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. A lady commented, I have a series on my page called Stop Bashing Shanann Watts. Leave her alone. Just stop. Stop smearing her character. Stop running her down. Stop ridiculing her. She was the victim. She and her 2 daughters. She was 15 weeks pregnant when she was brutally attacked and murdered by her husband, thrown in a shallow grave, and the 2 children in oil batteries. Give me a break. Y'all leave her alone. So I've got a whole series on that. I can't stand people picking on Shanann Watts, and I will always be a voice for her. So anyway, there's one woman commented, and some of these videos have a lot of comments, y'all, and it's hard to reply to every single one of them. Some of them I didn't even see at the time they were placed there. But in reference to my Stop Bashing Shanann video, she commented, but isn't that bashing the Watts? Question mark. Isn't that bashing the Watts for me to defend Shanann? I'm confused. Defending Shanann and being a voice for her. I mean, I didn't know if that's what she was trying to imply or what she was trying to say. Is you're saying that defending Shanann is bashing the Watts family? How so? How is that possible? That's weird. So I didn't really know what she meant by that. She could have been referring to my opinion about the Watts family and how they treated Shanann. How they always treated Shanann. How Shanann's family was so loving and warm and accepting of Chris Watts. Emotionally intelligent people, loving, warm, caring, and they accepted Chris Watts into their family. They loved him like a son. They didn't sit up like Cindy and Ronnie Watts, speaking of Chris like 2 immature, emotionally immature teenagers on the freaking playground. We don't like him. We're going to plot on him. From day one, Cindy Watts, Jamie Watts did not like Shanann. They did not like Chris's new girlfriend. Then she became his bride. They did things to sabotage their wedding. Cindy Watts didn't even show up for her own son's wedding. Give me a break. They've got toxic family written all over them. Toxic, dysfunctional, narcissistic, every drop. They've got that written all over. That's all I even need to hear. I don't even need to hear anymore, but there is so much more. So, in reference to that question, that comment, isn't that bashing the Watts? There's no bashing the Watts to it. Those are just facts. Just facts. There's a big difference when you are targeting and attacking an innocent, loving, 15-week pregnant mother who was murdered alongside her 2 daughters. When you are targeting her and smearing her name and sitting up on your freaking channels, going through her life, picking out every fucking thing you can to scoff at and laugh at and make fun of and make this woman ruin her name and her character and make fucking money off of it. There's a big difference when you're doing that to an innocent victim of a crime and when you're just stating facts. When you're targeting and attacking someone who doesn't fucking deserve it, who was none of those things. And when you're just speaking facts on what a family is actually like, the way they treated people, the way they interacted with people from day one. The Ruseks were nothing like that. Sandy and Frank, the Ruseks were nothing like that. We never heard any reports that they didn't like Chris, that they talked shit about Chris, that they picked at Chris, that they tried to sabotage Chris, that they got into it with Chris. No, it was always the other family, always the opposite. It was always the Watts. It was always Cindy. Didn't like Shanann. Got into it with Shanann. This, that, and the other. And a lady commented, I posted something on the community wall yesterday, my new video that I just put up about Chris Watts' personality and those types of covert narcissistic types of men. And this woman commented on it, and you, if you're out there, if you see my video, you were spot on. She commented and she put her input and her thoughts into it. You nailed it. The triangulation going on, that Chris was triangulating the wife and mother, absolutely nailed it. That's what they do. Like little boys. I can't tell you the times my partner did that to me, and I loved him dearly, but he had issues. One minute he would be on the phone with his mother after just being there with me. Okay, like for example, one time his mama brought him some sheets. We were having problems because he was drinking so much. I had to go to bed at night. I had to get up for work. I had stuff I had to be responsible for. And so he went to stay at a hotel for a few months. And I would, of course, show up every morning, check on him, take him food. He was really going through it with his alcoholism and his illnesses and all these different kinds of things. Well, his mom came one day. I would go up there every day. I would clean his room. I mean, I had love for this man. Love for this man. I didn't have to do that after how he treated me and how he acted and the burdens that he put on me with his alcoholism and all that shit. I just genuinely loved spending time with him. So I would make time in my day. I was doing DoorDash back then, and I would make time in my day to go over there, clean his room, take him to work with me, spend time with him, take him food. He was my love. He was my person. I loved him. But, you know, there were times that we just could not live together. And so his mom showed up over there one day, and she brought him some new sheets, right? This is how he was. This is how they are. I'm just saying. And no, I am not saying that my partner was anything like Chris Watts in that regard, as far as not loving his children, physically or violently attacking women and children. Never, never. Let me make that clear. I'll always make that clear. But he was covert narcissistic. He did have some similar characteristics. They all do. And he was very troubled, and he did torment me a great deal of the time, and he did put me through hell a great deal of the time, even if physical attack wasn't involved, okay? But no, he would never carry it as far as Watts did. He would never do anything like that to a child, especially his own damn children. Of course not. He loved children. So don't ever get that twisted. I'm never saying that. But so an example of triangulation. His mother brings him some sheets over to his hotel, special sheets for him, nice, expensive sheets, right? What does he do? He don't give a fuck about any of that kind of shit. Number one, he's a dude. A lot of dudes really just don't give a shit about that kind of thing. Number two, he is beyond all that. He is so alcoholic that he's not collecting things. He's not taking care of things. He's not keeping up with his possessions. He doesn't really care. He's so alcoholic. And therefore, yes, with alcoholism, very high narcissism comes with that a lot of times. They're not paying attention to what you're doing for them, how much you're bleeding out, how much time and energy you're spending. A lot of times they can't even, when they're in that world of all consumed with addiction and alcoholism, they can't even see that. All right, well, she gives him these sheets, and I come over to pick him up so we can, go to work and hang out and go get something to eat. And he's like, well, my mom just brought me these new sheets. He's like, you want them? And I'm like, no, babe. I've got sheets, because me, I'm really, really altruistic like that, really genuine, really authentic. I really want what's best for the people I care about. I want them to have nice things too. I'm not envious. Even if I had no sheets on my bed, I still wouldn't want to take the nice gift that his mother got for him to enjoy. That's the kind of fucking person I am. Okay? So, give a shit about having his sheets. You know what? Nah. Sheets are nice and everything, but I just look at it this way. If I didn't work and go pick it up for myself, then I can just wait. If I want to focus on getting some sheets, I'll go get me some. And I'm just like, not that I didn't appreciate gifts from him, but no, I was like, no, babe, I'm good. I've got some sheets, and besides, your mom just brought you those. You don't want to give them away. She'll probably come back and wonder, where's your sheets? He's like, nah, I don't want them. Fuck those sheets. I don't even want them. I don't care. I want you to have them. Okay, I guess if you're just gonna, and knowing that he's very, very alcoholic and very, very destructive, and yes, he tears up his room, he throws shit in the floor, he doesn't take care of things, knowing that they're probably just gonna get wasted anyway and not appreciated. Okay, dude, I'll take them. I'll take them and put them on my bed, but if at any time you want them back and you really want them, let me know. I'll give them right back. That's how it went, right? That's what I was talking about in my video about Chris Watts and covert narcissistic males, or people in general, women or men, how they force you to take things. Damn it. And I get tired of people judging other people for that, and they don't fucking know what's going on. How this type of motherfucking person will force you to take gifts, take money. They want you to take things, right? And if you don't, if you're just cool about it or you don't want it, they get all in their damn feelings. They get all resentful and, all in their head, and might even try to punish you, or it gets crazy. So, I take the sheets, and the next thing I know, and then I'm going to have to sign off. I've got a call coming in that I just have to take. The next thing I know, he has told his mother, right? I'm hearing from his mother. He has told his mother that I come over there and I take everything he has, that I just took off with his sheets. And I dealt with that for years, y'all. You damned if you do and damned if you don't with a covert narcissist. And that is the same exact personality type on Chris Watts that I want people to become more aware of, that Shanann Watts was having to endure probably long years before her murder. The sick psychological emotionally immature, twisted games that these types play. Triangulation and manipulation and all those types of things. They have to be a victim, like a little boy victim at all times. They crave people's pity, and if nobody's participating in it, they will fucking force you to. They will set it up and then triangulate you against other people. So I would notice this would go on a great deal of the time. He would do this to me and then go get on the phone with his mother and start crying victim and get her all reacting and that damn Tamara, she's just a bitch. She's just a selfish. Yeah, those are for you, my boy, not for her. It's the reaction that these covert narcs crave. They have to get a reaction from just about everybody they know. That makes them feel powerful, that they did something, that they have power to pull strings and make people think things and feel things, and but it's all fucking toxic. And so the mom is pissed off at me, thinking I'm just a selfish bitch who takes things away from her boy. And then he comes back to me and he even starts talking about it. Like, yeah, well, mom was pissed off and she was upset that you took my sheets. And say, what? Hold up, you said what? Whoa, 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 whoa. She was upset that I took your sheets. Oh my God. But that's alcohol, y'all. A lot of that is not just covert narcissism. His was covert narcissism, lots of childhood trauma, lots of unresolved issues, and alcoholism. And when you add alcoholism, severe, lifelong years of it to the package, yeah, you've got a lot of delusional thinking and a lot of it affects the brain in a lot of ways. Okay. But he would do that shit a lot of the time. Triangulate, tell her one thing, and then come back and tell me another thing. Well, mom is pissed because you took my sheets and she said this, and this, and you shouldn't be. And I'm like, that's okay. He's waiting, right? He's waiting for me to start firing. Hold up. She said, what about me? Why would she say such a thing? Because I didn't do that. Did you inform that woman that you insisted that I take those sheets and that I didn't want the sheets, that I didn't ask for them? You just got this woman thinking I walked up in your place and just took off with your sheets? Did you not tell her that each and every time she gives you something new, you don't give two shits about it and you try to sling it right out the door or give it to me? And his mom would actually get jealous of that. See, that goes along with the covert narcissistic man package, is a fucking narcissistic mama who hasn't emotionally grown up all the way either. And I'm sorry, but I see that and feel that 100% in the Watts case and in the Watts family between Chris and Cindy Watts. Absolutely. So to that person who commented that, those are just facts. That's not bashing the Watts at all. But that's the kind of shit they do. Constant triangulation, constant games. And I loved my partner very dearly, but I had to accept that level he was on, and that it really hurt me for him that he was that broken somewhere in his childhood, that didn't get certain things that he needed, that attention, that praise, that reaction from the parents that he needed at that time. And here he is, a middle-aged man doing this stuff. So getting me pissed at mom, getting mom pissed at me. And yeah, I think his mom at certain times was kind of envious of his love for me and my love for him, and how I did step into that role. I didn't necessarily want to be there, but that mommying him, and it's just part of my nature though. Loving him and cooking for him and cleaning for him and nurturing him and just being there for him. I think within toxic narcissistic families, some of those mothers, they hang on too long. They know they fucked up when their boy was a boy. And they want to try to be his mommy in later life. And they get very jealous and very resentful of the grown ass, strong, intelligent, beautiful women that come into their life that genuinely love them, that cook for them, that clean, that have a good head on their shoulders, have ambition in life. These types of mothers get really fucked up about it. These highly narcissistic moms. And I'm sorry that I feel that going on in the Watts case with Chris and Cindy Watts. Absolutely. All right, guys. Thank you for dropping by on my live stream today. And I'm going to try it again tomorrow, either tomorrow or the next morning. And I'm going to try to do it much earlier where I'm not interrupted. And what we're going to pick back up with is the deceased loved ones, okay? And we're going to get back into examining that and more thoughts on that, more experiences that I've had as far as connecting to them in the afterlife and that energy, and what it's like to go through that whole grief process of losing a partner last year. And so if you're up at that time, join me. Again, I'm still experimenting with live streaming and different times. I may get on again late tonight. I don't know. Or like later in the evening and just see how that goes, because that would be a more prime time. But I don't know. I'll see. But for those of you who popped in today and said hello, what's up? Thank you. Nice to hear from you. And I'll see you guys later.